time on Allies or Enemies, we are looking at Dice Throne, and specifically Dice Throne Season 1 ReRolled. Our copy of the game is supplied by the publisher, but the thoughts are all our own. Dice Throne is designed by Nate Chatellier and Manny Trembley, and is a straight-up dice-chucking battle game. Season 1 ReRolled collects the first 6 characters released for Dice Throne, along with a couple of new faces, and puts them all into a big treasure trove of a box. It officially plays from 2 to 4 players. Well, 6 at a push, but at its heart, this is a 1v1 battle of throwing dice to punch, burn, and throwing star your enemies into submission. We'll come back to the characters and the package and a bunch of other stuff, but let's start with how it plays.
Everything you need to set up a game of Dice Throne is in these handy little character boxes. Just lay out the board and hero leaflet, set your health to 50 and your CP to 2, draw 4 cards, and you are off. You start your turn by gaining 1 CP and 1 card. CP is used to pay the cost for playing cards, and cards are used to level up abilities, reroll dice, or cause other effects. After you gain your stuff, you're free to play those cards, and then it's rolling time. Your aim when rolling your dice is to end up with one of the combos shown on one of your powers, and you have 3 tries to do it, by Yahtzee style, keeping the ones you like and re-rolling the others. Once you are good with your result, or you've run out of rolls, you choose one power you qualify for and resolve its effect. These often deal damage to your opponent, but depending on the character, they may also cause status effects or heal or all sorts of stuff. After you attack, your opponent will usually have the chance to use a defensive power or play cards, although not against an ultimate, cause nothing stops an ultimate. Then you have one more chance to play cards, and it's your opponent's turn to do the whole thing right back at you. You keep doing this, trading back and forth until someone's knocked down to 0 points, and whoever's left standing is the winner.
While the gameplay is fairly simple, what keeps players coming back and back to Dice Throne is the variety of characters. Season 1 ReRolled comes with 8, and no 2 of them play the same. They may not be 100% balanced, and not every character will be a fit for someone, but it has kind of that feel of classic Street Fighter, where every character will have its fans, even Dulcim. Also like Street Fighter, the character designs and powers are packed with so much personality that you don't need much more info for your imagination to start filling in the blanks. But probably the best way to talk about this is to look at them all one by one.
Barbarian is the meat and potatoes fighter. This is the guy you give to the newest player at the table. Pretty much everything on his sheet is designed to either punch his opponent or heal himself, usually without any bells or whistles. And he can only use 2 status effects, both of which are super simple. Basically, you just want to roll straights with him all day long, and then hopefully heal on defense, at least when you're not admiring that luscious hair and beard.
Moon Elf is like Moon Knight and Hawkeye had a baby, so it makes sense that she raises the complexity a little with a leaflet full of possible status effects, though for the most part, her kit is still fairly straightforward and super deadly. On offense, almost every power of her board deals solid damage, plus some kind of fairly pesky effect. And on defense, she has a decent chance to dodge half the damage dealt using Mist Me, or all of the damage dealt using Evasive. Neither is a sure thing, but together it makes her awfully slippery.
Pyromancer is all about attacking you and watching you burn, which is scary. Her keys are inflicting burns that deal you damage every turn and building up her fire mastery to supercharge her various powers. Her goal is to fight fast and win quickly. Even her defense is an attack, so she really has a one-track mind. This is maybe my favorite of the bunch. Even though I've had mixed success with her, it is a lot of fun to push the base.
Shadow Thief is maybe the most complex character in the box, both in terms of understanding his abilities and knowing how to use him well, But once you figure him out, he is one of the most powerful and frustrating to face characters in the game. Unlike Pyromancer, Shadow Thief is all about the long game. Almost none of his powers deal straight up damage. Instead, he poisons you to tick away at your health while he draws cards and builds CP to set up for big hits late in the game. And beating him before that point is made a lot trickier by Shadows, which doesn't just dodge attacks, it treats them as though they never even happened. Also, he looks like if Gambit wore Joker colors, which is adding cool to cool.
Only the monk can master all 4 elements and bring balance to the world. Monk is another character that plays it slow and steady. His main focus is his chi, which is fitting. Chi can be used to either add 1 to offense or prevent 1 hit on defense, and it is both super flexible and super frustrating to fight against. If you can balance the chi system well, you can really make your opponents angry.
Paladin has a lot going on, with 5 different status effects and a bunch of powers that might give you flashbacks to grade 10 math class. Plus, he seems like he is the bad guy in the story. Look at that sourpuss. He is kind of the Swiss Army knife of the group, with the ability to heal and protect himself, as well as add to damage and gain CP and cards. If you know how to put all of the bits together, he can be a tough customer. But for a newbie, that puzzle can be tricky to put together.
Ninja is cool right out of the gate because she is a ninja, but she is also fun to play. Everything Ninja does is ninja-y. Smoke bombs help her avoid damage, ninjutsu helps her add extra damage, and when you do hit her, her swords and shurikens deal damage right back at you. That reciprocal damage is actually maybe the coolest part. Hitting Ninja is like poking a scorpion with a very short stick. Also, like a scorpion, she deals poison, which is kind of like normal poison, but way more poisonous.
Finally, in the long tradition of lovable talking trees, we have Treant, who is one of my personal favorites in the game. The root of Treant's power lies in the spirits, which you will level up from seedling to sapling to dryad throughout the game, and use to re-roll, heal, or add damage when you need their help. Fittingly, he is another character that is more on the slow and steady side, with solid defense and a barbed vine power that make opponents think twice before re-rolling. I don't know why anthropomorphized trees are so lovable, but they really are.
The box says 2 to 6, and that is not a lie, but it does feel a bit like telling people a Royal Rumble is a wrestling match. Technically, wrestling is happening, but nobody knows what's going on, and at least one person is just resting in a corner. Dice Throne is definitely best when it is one-on-one. Maybe you throw in a tag team or a 3-way match in here or there for a change of pace, but 90% of the time, you will be sticking to head-to-head, and the game shines with that back and forth. And it's a lot more fun to play 2 or 3 matches and switch characters each time.
Now that we have run through the characters, let's run through the stuff, because the stuff is nice. If you like having a place for everything, you are in luck. Each character has their own box, which fits everything they need, and then each character goes smoothly into the bigger box, which organizes them all so nicely. Although you can also just buy them in packs of 2. And the stuff in those boxes is nice as well. The player boards are pretty and big and clear, and have perfect spaces for everything. Each character has custom dice, which have a cool marbled background that makes them pop, and the artwork generally delivers across the board. The icons also make it all easy to understand, although there were points where I need to stop and think about my math. The one slight tricky is the cards, which function-wise are clear, but can sometimes have a bit generic key art and feel thin enough that you will probably want to sleeve them. Otherwise, however, this is a nice production.
Dice Throne was a bit of a surprise for us. I was drawn in by the Street Fighter-ness of it all, but neither of us tend to be big fans of fighting games or dice games, yet we find ourselves with almost 30 plays between this and the Marvel sets, and I'm sure a lot more on the horizon. And speaking of the Marvel sets, these characters can totally mix with those, so you can just choose the ones that appeal if you aren't interested in going all in by picking up the 2-packs. However, despite the fun we've had with the game, it won't be for everyone. First of all, it is a dice game. You are always weighing odds and using cards in tactical ways, but if dice rolling isn't for you, well, this is a lot of rolling dice. Also, the matches won't always feel balanced, which evens out when you play a bunch, but can feel tough if you play one game and end up with the short end of the stick, or if you end up against one of the more turtley characters who are tactical but can drag games out. All of those caveats considered, however, we have had a lot of fun with it. So if you do like head-to-head fighters and a bit of tactical dice rolling and card play, and you are the sort of person that gets excited by a pile of cool characters, this one has the potential to become a real game night staple. And that is it. Have you played any of the Dice Throne games? Which characters are your favorites, and which other head-to-head games do you like? And as always, please do comment and like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you all next time for another game.